So my main motivation to write the book, Erfolgsfaktor kulturelle Vielfalt, is very simple. You know, if you live in an environment that constantly restrained from using the talents of people just because they look different, just because they come from different places, because they think differently, because they speak different languages, then of course you have to raise your voice to tell them these differences are actually what makes us innovative. This is actually what makes us who we are. And if these differences are not respected, we may never reach our fullest potential. We may never contribute fully to what we actually are able and capable to contributing. And this means our society, our organizations, and the world will be losing and will be missing our contribution. So just like I say, when you get to Europe, many European countries and public discussion makes you understand that you do not belong. You come from somewhere else, and you're not belonging, and your background of someone who comes from somewhere else is a deficit, and this doesn't qualify you in fully participating. So if you know that environment, you certainly know that you have to activate them from a different perspective, and you have to tell them that inclusion and in the invitation for people who are different to participate, even if they do things differently than we are used to having them done, enables you to tap into new resources. It's not something that you do just because you want to be a good person. It's not something that you do just because at one point and then you let it go. It's a process that you have to put in place, bearing in mind that we are independent from each other. In German, I would say wechselseitige Abhängigkeit. It's like what is the word in English again? It means we are mutually independent from each other. And if we don't realize this mutual independence and we can't deal with it, then we lose resources. We miss out something. And if we're missing out this thing, it doesn't mean that our competitors are doing the same. You know, what we leave on the table, our competitors take, and we lose the market. So Erfolgsfaktor kulturelle Vielfalt was first of all to show the potential that people that come from different cultures bring to the European society, be it from the economic point of view, from the political point, from the socio-political point of view, and from the the business point of view. It's about saying that when you talk about differences, you talk about different cultures. It could be talking about your teams in the workplace. And if you look at it from a positive point of view, you know that you have to create new set of rules to be able to welcome people in the workplace and ask them to actually bring in their differences to complete the picture that you want to have on the workplace. So it's about your teams. But also about your customers. Quite often, companies do not realize that when you talk about diversity, cultural diversity, you're talking about new market, you're talking about new customers, you're talking about a new sources of income, you're talking about emerging markets. So in Erfolgsfaktor kulturelle Vielfalt, there are three key aspects. The aspect of the social-political aspect, saying our communities, our societies are becoming more and more diverse, and we can't stop it. The European population is aging, so Europe is going to need people from different cultures to be able to maintain the system they have been living in. This will mean that they will have to change some of their perceptions and their perspectives and their knowledge about different cultures on the one hand, but also that the marketplace is becoming more and more competitive. We're becoming more and more global, and sometimes you don't even know who your customers are. So to be able to be competitive in the global market, you have to tap into diverse markets, and these diverse markets have different cultural backgrounds. They have different communication codes. They have different market needs, which could become your product and your services. So if you are aware of this, then you certainly will deal with it from a very different angle, from a resource-oriented angle, and you will understand that if you fail to deal with it, then you're losing a business case. It's about business, not about how you feel. And this is why I wrote that book. And in that book are also aspects of leadership from the African culture, because I think if we are going to navigate successfully in a global market, we will have to adopt some of the leadership principles from different parts of the world that are becoming that will be leading in the future. Demographically, we know that Europe is stagnating. There are less birth rate. The birth rate in Europe is becoming less and less. It's becoming less and less, while the number of older people is getting more and more. And we know that Asia is currently is currently having the highest growth, population growth in the world. And we also know that from 2040, the African continent will be producing the highest number of working population of the world, and that the African continent at the moment has the highest the highest amount of farmland, which is going to feed the world tomorrow. So if we have some of these facts, we will realize that we don't need to love Africans to be able to do business with them. We just have to, get to that point where we say it's all about business. And doing good business means respecting our differences and knowing, what we are out for. So this is what is in that book. And it's a book that provokes people. It's a book that calls for a different way of thinking, a different way of dealing with each other, a different way of embracing differences.